Hey peeps, Erin Zen Warrior checking in, and you are not my master. This is a conversation that has been going on between me and a very good friend of mine for a while, and it has been a fascinating conversation. Now that I'm pulling into here, I know that it's going to mess with my my live as it switches over. 1 second, just going to finish that up. The conversation has really been about mastering and all this sort of stuff, and we're actually moving forward into a time where the idea of the guru, in the construct that you understand it, in the construct that Ra meant at the time, the guru, the ultimate guide, the person that kind of takes over your decisions for you, the person you farm out stuff to, you let run your life, you do any of that stuff. And I've had a guru, right? And there's some truth in that construct that in some ways your own authority is very much, and when I say authority, I mean decision-making system within human design, but it's still an authority thing, right? You actually kind of go, okay, I'm just going to trust and I'm going to let go and I'm going to delve into what it is to be in the flow with this guru, to be in this experience, to learn meditation from this person, from this group of people. And it's interesting because I wouldn't do it again, but I can tell you, changed my life. Changed my life in a way that I can't even really explain it totally. But I would not be the radical individual that I am today if it was not for my guru. I'd still be a individual in some way, but I would not be this person. I think I was given so much there and so much to digest that I think it would take lifetimes had I done it any other way. And I'm eternally freaking grateful for that. But we are moving forward to a time where the construct of the guru-disciple relationship is gone. And I've been talking to a good friend of mine. I'm going to out him here. It was my sword teacher. About this whole concept. And he's a deep studier and he's a deep thinker. He's a deep philosopher. And he has been considering what it is to be in this world and what he thinks of masters and teachers. And ultimately, he does everything his way. And there's something pretty divine and kind of perfect about that in some ways. But interestingly, just before I got in the car, a post popped up from Paul Chek, and I bumped into a friend who's also had gurus, and you know, he and I have an interesting connection and can talk on a certain level because we've had a similar experience. But then also listening to Paul Chek, who's really revolutionized the way the fitness industry works, and he's very much a meditator, very alternative, very holistic. And he talked about shadow work and that, you know, you're never cooked, that every time you meet someone new, every time you go through a new experience, the shadows resurface in different ways. You get to explore the shadow differently. And as long as you're in a body, as I have often said, you are always here to learn. You're always here to receive something. And you can receive something from other people. I do agree with my sword teacher that there are no more gurus, not in the way that we think. And when you listen to how Sadhguru talks about what a guru is, he says a guru is simply, and I think this is where the misunderstanding has fallen apart and the behavior of us in the West, maybe in the East too, has fallen apart, is that we farmed out our authority to someone else. That was a decision we made. That was not necessarily the requirement, you know. Sadhguru says very clearly, a guru means teacher. And you go to a teacher to learn what you do not know. You go to a teacher to learn what you do not have experience in. And here's the tough bit, right? Your mind is really tricky. And until you have learnt enough about how your mind works, you will not be great at observing it, because that is what I observe in people. And so it takes time to learn about your own mind. And sometimes the easiest way to do that, though it does not feel easy at the time, is to have someone reflect back to you, is to have a teacher, a guru, right? I don't think as we go forward, it's about people taking our responsibility from us and just pointing us in the right direction without allowing us to determine. I am not comfortable with that, and I am a teacher. I am a guide. Sometimes people joke and call me guru. It's a strange title because I don't relate to it, because I don't relate to that style of guiding anyone. I relate to a style where I invite you. And if you do not choose, that was your choice. Is it frustrating for me? Yeah, because I'm in a human body and I have attachments to things. And sometimes I have attachments to the fact that I'm exhausted and I just wasted my time on you, you know? But the truth is that my divinity knows that it is your choice. It is your choice to choose whether this resonates with you or not. And it is interesting to me how many people might disagree with me in the moment, but stick around because something still resonates for them. And often what happens is that eventually they actually start to see very clearly what I was talking about, you know. The difference between you and me might simply be that I've spent a lot longer observing myself, and I've had some really heavy reflections from gurus in my life that were, as I described it to my friend that I met in the gym now, who also has had a guru, it's like being in a kiln, you know. When you really come up against someone who is fire, it is like being in a kiln, and it is tough, you know. And I am tough. I'm definitely tough. I don't think I'm as tough as my guru was, because if I am, I really owe a lot more credit to the people who stick around. But I still give credit to those people who stick around and keep learning and keep determining whatever it is that I say, what actually is for them, that they sit with it, that they go, oh, I don't know what you mean there. I'm like, cool, just let it be. See if it has any relevance at any point. But no one is my master. And yet I have met many masters. Because being a master is not about being someone's master. It is about having mastery. And a real master knows that they are always learning. I have been learning about the body my whole life. My parents were movement teachers. I am a movement teacher. I've had multiple movement teachers. I still have a movement teacher. And yet I have a level of mastery when it comes to movement. I have a level of mastery. And so on some level, I am a master. And on some level, I will forever be the student. And so when I meet other masters, in the paraphrase words of Edo Portal, when I meet a great teacher, I let them teach me what they have to teach. When I met my sword teacher, I recognized straight away that there's something very unique about him. He has not been doing it that long, but he studies the videos, he studies the tradition, he studies the master, he has a master. But he lets the master know what he's going to learn and what he's not going to learn, which amuses the crap out of me. But also seems correct to me. And I do the same thing to him, you know. The other week, someone witnessed us having an argumentative, stubborn battle because I wanted to be able to ask my question before he told me what he decided to tell me. Part of that was because I was going to ask first. And also because I was going to forget my question otherwise, and then I'd be pissed. But that's me talking to the person who has some mastery in what they're teaching me, you know. Was it correct? I would say it was a bit disrespectful, actually. But were we mirroring each other? Well, yes, very much so. So maybe in that moment we were each other's great teachers, and no one was the master, you know. But I'm not here to be anyone's master, and you should not be looking for a master. You should not be farming your authority out to anyone. But as we come into the new time of new guidance, the guidance is that we help you find your authority. We help you hear the resonance within yourself. And that's part of the reason I do health. Because when the system is out of tune, you cannot hear your own resonance, you will struggle. That's why it's so important that you reconsider some of your shitty habits and start watching them with more awareness. Not because you have to give up your shitty habits and not because they really matter, in a sense, right? But because if there is unconsciousness there, if there is unawareness there, then there will be a lack of tune there. And when you are out of tune, it is really difficult for you to hear your resonance and to hear what is correct for you and what isn't. Most of you are still doing pros and cons list and using your mind to reason things out. Well, I can tell you we are coming into a time where it is about intuition. And it doesn't matter what your logical brain says. If it comes up with the right answer, it was purely accidental. It is not going to be, and it should never have been the way you made decisions, ever. It is not the way you were built. Your mind is for you to explain shit to other people. Your mind is for you to nut stuff out that is mathematical. But when it comes to making decisions to do with your spirit, your soul, where you step next as an individual, your mind has no business there. So it's purely a processor to take in the words someone said so that your body can guide you. And when I guide people, I ask them questions so that their body can answer for them, you know. So love to hear what you all have to say. Love to hear you like, follow, share, do all the things. And would like to remind you that as long as you're in a body, that density will become more or less dense depending on what is going on for you. You are organic. Things are always shifting and moving. And we all need help at some stage. But ideally, we get help that guides us back to ourselves, not to someone else's idea of who we should be. Have a great day.